Let's start with the Banana Bread Overnight Oats, and I'll tell you why I love this. Of course, Manitoba oats, Canada, the largest exporter of oats in the world. Oatmeal has never been one of my favorite things to eat, but I'll tell you what, I've started doing this just in the last year, what you're about to do, and I love this. This is for people who maybe aren't super crazy about oatmeal. So tell us how you do yours.
Okay, so basically it's like a cold oatmeal, right? So we're going to, this recipe makes two 2-cup containers worth. So we're going to just eyeball it and put half of the oats in one container and half of the oats in the other. And then to the oats, we're gonna add a little bit of honey. So just for a little bit of sweet, we're gonna drizzle that on top. Now honey is really nice when you have a cold dish and you have something sweet in it and you don't wanna use granulated sugar, which sometimes gets a little bit grainy or gritty, right?
Yeah,
so that's
texture.
a really nice alternative to use. A little bit of cinnamon for some flavor because after all, it's banana bread overnight oats.
Gotta have it.
Okay, and to that we're going to add the milk. So I'll get you to put half of the milk in each of these containers.
I can do that.
So what's great about this meal, it truly is a meal in one because it has whole grains, it has fruit from our bananas, and it also has a protein, so from our milk as well as our yogurt.
Right.
And the really nice thing is that our dairy products actually add not only protein, but they also add calcium, which is great for our bones.
For sure.
Right? So then here's the bananas going in.
I like to mash mine sometimes, and I like the way you're doing yours, and you can kind of play around with this a little bit, right? But, you know, I like the way you're doing yours because then you can kind of see it the next day. It's all sort of like in nice layers, and it's really, really beautiful, yeah.
And so then this is the yogurt going on top, and so I liked to put the yogurt on top just so that it prevents the bananas from being exposed to the air for too long and having them kind of turn brown, which bananas tend to do, right?
And what flavor is that?
This is a vanilla yogurt.
Okay,
yeah. So you can use any kind of vanilla yogurt you want, but I mean, really, this is just a base recipe. You could use any kind of fruit, any kind of yogurt. You know, as long as you've got the sort of 3 main things in there, you're good to go.
Right.
So those are your overnight oats. Really simple. You put it in the fridge overnight.
And then the toppings, you kind of add those in the next day.
Yes.
Whatever's sort of to your liking.
Ground flax, coconut, nuts, chocolate chips, whatever you like.
Beautiful.
Okay,
wonderful.
so those are ready to go.
All right.
In the meantime, we're going to make another great make-ahead dip, and then you're going to chill it as well before using it. And this is the dip to the cottage. So it starts with an interesting base, and it's cottage cheese. So I have a bit of a confession to make. Not a big fan of cottage cheese. It's a texture thing, right? It's kind of, not everyone likes that texture.
Yeah.
So if we blend the cottage cheese before we use it, it completely changes the texture. So we have already, so this is what it looks like before you blend it.
Right.
And you put it in the blender, and once you've blended it, you get a really nice, smooth consistency.
Okay.
So we're just gonna add some seasonings to it. So a little bit of parsley, as well as a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper.
Okay.
A really little tiny bit of green onions, but it does make a big difference in the dip. And then we're going to give it a bit of a buzz.
Okay.
And you'll see how quickly this comes together. It's just, it's so easy.
Super fast, yeah.
Okay. So then we're going to add the lemon juice and the oil.
Okay.
And then you can
you're done.
see how nice and smooth that is. Like, it really is quite a nice dip.
Yeah.
And so then you let it sit in the fridge overnight or even for a couple hours,
Get
and then
all
all
those
those flavors come together.
Yeah.
And you have a really great vegetable dip. It's also really nutritious, and it's high in protein because of that cottage cheese.
Yeah, and so easy to take along, right? Like any of these that you put the lid on and off you go wherever that happens to be. Okay, so a recipe 1A and B today with Dairy Farmers of Manitoba. When we come back, we've got skillet mac and the soak up the sun dip. We got a lot of dips going on here tonight. So that's when we come back right here on Great Tastes of Manitoba.
You're watching Great Tastes of Manitoba, brought to you in part by the Government of Canada and Manitoba Agriculture and Resource Development through the Canadian Agricultural Partnership.